Yo, 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 yo. We got another edition of the Mark Spark Show. And I am your host, Mark Spark. Let's do it. We got a lot to talk about today. It's been a lot of shit going on in my city. Been a lot going on in my city. A lot going on. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Ski. We are back. I'm so sorry, guys. I haven't had like a episode of the Mark Spark Show in like a couple days. It's been like a week. I've been really focused on building that Keep It Cultivating podcast channel. Had a dope interview with the boy D Dave. Excuse me. Guys. I had a dope interview with the homie D Dave. That first segment, that clip is doing really well. It's doing phenomenally. I ain't gonna say phenomenally well because, you know, there's other podcasts that are clearly bigger than mine. Mine is fairly new. But what I will say is being a new independent podcast, I'm so happy with the support that we've been getting. I'm so grateful and so thankful for the support we've been getting. So when I say our numbers is phenomenal, I'm saying for the budget that I have, that I put into everything, and for, you know, someone like me that's not well known, you know what I mean? I'm fairly, you know, on the come up, if you could say that. I mean, I've been doing my rounds for the past however so many years, but I'm not popular like some of these famous podcasters or famous rappers or whatever. So, you know, any support that I get, I'm ecstatic about it, and it's huge to me because, you know, I remember a time where I didn't have no eyes on me, and now I'm seeing a lot of traffic, you know. So the past 6 years of work that I put in is now finally starting to pay off, and I appreciate y'all. So I just wanted to start this episode of the Mark Sparks Show just saying thanks to everybody that subscribed to like any of my channels, whether it be this channel, the hashtag Mark Spark channel, or whether it be the Keep It Cultivating podcast channel. From the heart, I truly appreciate you. Thank you. Alright, so now that we got that out the way, let's get into it. Oh yeah, and don't forget on your way in here to hit that like button, please. You know what I mean? Because we need it. We need all the love that we can get over here in migrant workers. So, you know, just, you know what I mean? Keep them numbers cultivating. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, we got a lot to talk about today. It's been some things going on. So, we going to get into it. What should I get into first? Because there's a lot to talk about. So, the first thing I want to talk about, there was recently an incident in Brooklyn that took place. There was a young man who got into some kind of verbal altercation with one of his customers at McDonald's. And I guess the customer, which is a lady, she received some fries in her order that I guess were cold. The fries were cold, and some kind of verbal dispute, some kind of verbal altercation took place where I guess the McDonald's employee was disrespecting the lady, and she didn't like the way that he was talking to her when she, I guess, voiced her complaint. So she proceeds to call her son. Her son comes to the McDonald's, to the establishment, has some words with one of the employees, and then offers the guy to come outside. The employee must have thought that he was going outside to fight, and he goes outside, and I guess they get into like a physical altercation, and the son throws him on the floor and then shoots him in the neck. The son gets arrested that same day, and the gentleman that was shot, the McDonald's employee, he was in critical condition. Yesterday he was pronounced brain dead, and I guess today he was pronounced like dead. So now, you know, the son who I guess was going there to what he thought was to defend his mom, he's now facing maybe some upgraded charges, and he might be facing some kind of murder charges or something to that extent. And this story, it kind of touched me because it's deep. There's so many different layers to this story that can be discussed and can be like a learning point. And I think, first thing I want to say is, the lady that felt like she was being disrespected, for her to call her son to come do something to this person, that was wrong, because now your son just threw away his life, and he's young. These are young people. These are young people that had like their whole life ahead of them, and now this kid done threw his life away over some nonsense. You know what I mean? And it's like, as a parent, I don't know how I would feel. Like, I wouldn't take that route, but how would I feel like calling my son to do something to somebody, and then, he ends up killing that person, and now he's in all kind of trouble. Like, I would feel terrible as a parent. I would feel like I failed him as a parent, So that's number one. Number two, the person that got shot, the question I have is, was he just a McDonald's employee, or was he a supervisor? Now, if he was just a McDonald's employee, I want to know why the supervisor or the manager that was working on that shift allowed him to go outside like that. Like, I know me, I used to be a manager in a restaurant, and I wouldn't let my employees go out to, like, I wouldn't have allowed that. I would have told my employees to go to the back or go to an area where the customers don't have access to until, things calm down or whatever. So, and I would have stepped in. I would have stepped in as the manager. Once I would have seen there was some kind of altercation between the staff and the customer and the guest or whatever, or what have you, I would have stepped in as the manager and been like, all right, I got to de-escalate this situation. And I would have told that employee to go to like an area where, he has no contact with the customer until I de-escalate the situation. So I want to know, like, where was the management at? Like, why was he allowed to just go out? And why, when they saw that it was some kind of dispute going on, why nobody from management stepped in? So that story is just sad on so many different levels, because it's like, man, like, they failed them kids, man. Like, the people in McDonald's failed the kid that had his life taken, and then the kid who took the other kid's life, he was failed by his mom. Like, she led him into like a trap. Like, she led him into, just a bad situation. So, I pray for all the families involved that are going to be missing their kids, whether their kid is the one that got killed or their kid is the one in jail. And I'm not saying as far as the mom, I'm saying the other family members that don't have nothing to do with it, that's going to be missing their family member, because now he's going to go to prison. So it's just sad, man. And it's like, I keep telling y'all see me do these videos, and I'm telling people, we living in dangerous times. You can't, you can't be so willing to engage with people in certain levels, because these people ain't playing fair. You might be ready to have a fist fight, and these people ready to take your life. Like, they ready to take your head off. You know what I mean? So sometimes it's better to just disengage and walk away from shit, because people ain't trying to take no L's. It's like a lot of these young boys are scared to get punched in their face. They ready to shoot you. They'll take your life before they take an L. You know what I'm saying? And it's just not worth it. So, it's just sad. That's a sad story right there. So there was another story that I wanted to discuss, but I'm going to light this blunt first. And it's funny that I'm lighting the blunt to talk about this next story, because the next story that I wanted to get into was the Brittany Griner case. So Brittany Griner pled guilty to her drug trafficking charges that she faced in Russia, and she was sentenced to like 9.5 years in prison in Russia. Now, it's crazy because this is a prime example of like how one bad decision or one small mistake can really cost you. 9.5 years is a long time, especially for like a vape cartridge. When weed was illegal in New York, people wasn't getting that kind of time for having like no vape cartridge or whatever. They were mainly getting like ticketed or whatever. So like, it's for you, Brittany. Got one in the air for you, sister. Nah, but all jokes aside though, this is really not a joking matter. It's like, you know, she's basically like a political prisoner right now. They're making an example out of her because of the relations between U.S. and Russia during that war between Russia and Ukraine, and the U.S.'s stance on helping Ukraine. So now she's being held basically as a political prisoner. And you know, me being the kind of stoner that I am, I'm always have her in my prayers and you know, in my thoughts until she comes back to U.S. soil and she come back home. But yeah, it's like, you know, I feel bad for her in a way because I don't think that she thought that even if she would have got caught with that, it would have been that severe. But these times, you got to really pay attention to what's going on in the world. A lot of time, these people that are famous, that have all this money, they lose touch. They lose touch with reality because their reality is not the same as a poor person. A poor person has to be aware of whatever laws and whatever places they go. And this is part of the reason why I don't really travel abroad. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, the laws be different, the cultures be different. And if you don't know the particular laws for wherever you at, you could be facing some pretty harsh consequences for shit that's not even against the law here in the United States. So that's something for people to like keep in mind when you traveling to all these places. Understand their laws be different than ours. Even in our country, when you go from state to state, different laws vary in different states. So imagine going to a whole nother country. Like me personally, I'm a stoner and I'm not bringing no weed. I'll find some weed over there. Even though we know, all the real like connoisseurs know that over in Russia, they got ruderolus, which that shit is terrible. That shit is like trash weed. But fuck it. If I was in Russia, I'd be smoking some ruderolus. You know what I'm saying? Because, yeah, but not everybody thinks like that. They think, oh, it's not that serious. There'll be a slap on the wrist. Because usually in the places where weed is legal out here, where it's illegal out here, it's just like a slap in the wrist. But, you know, you just have to understand that when you go places, you got to know and do your research and do the due diligence to understand what is the laws. If you know you somebody that likes to get high and shit like that, then you should look into what is the marijuana laws over in these places before you go. Because even me, before I go to a different state, and that's here in the States, I look to see what are the marijuana laws over in this state or whatever. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to get put in no bad situations. But nevertheless, my prayers are still with you. So tonight I'm bringing back the segment of Weirdish. On tonight's episode of Weirdish. You know what I mean? We have Will Smith. Your man Will Smith recently gave an apology to Chris Rock for what he did like months ago. And I think if he was gonna apologize, he should have just apologized months ago. And I think at this point nobody's really thinking about that shit besides Chris Rock. It seemed like the homie Chris Rock, he's trying to monetize that shit. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna make jokes now. I'm gonna make some money off that shit. Like, he's trying to monetize that experience. And I can't knock him because he got humiliated on national television, so might as well make some money off of the experience. Will Smith, the apology seemed mad disingenuine. It seemed, even when you gave the first apology, you should have apologized to him then when you was apologizing to everybody else but him. So to do that shit now is mad weird. It's like, I looked up to you, bro. I grew up on the Fresh Prince. You know what I mean? I grew up on that show, bro. Please stop being a weirdo. Like, just stop. It hurts me to even point you out for being weird, and it's like it just keeps getting weirder and weirder, man. So today, on today's segment of Weirdish, Will Smith, man, just get your shit together, man. But for now, bro, you're fucking weird. Man, fucking weird. But you, if anybody can get it together and get it, you know what I mean, cultivating again, I'm pretty sure it's you, my brother. Got some work to do. We all do. But if anybody can make it, I'm sure you can. So, this is not going to be a long episode. I just wanted to get straight to the point with you guys. Wanted to definitely talk about that McDonald's shooting. And I definitely wanted to talk about the Brittany Griner case because it's really messed up that she being used as a political prisoner. Guys, I want to thank y'all again for everybody that's been subscribing, everybody that's been commenting, everybody that's been liking, and of course, everybody that's been sharing. From the heart, we truly appreciate it over here at Migrant Workers. Please continue to keep it cultivating. And yo, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't. Also, we do have that second segment of the D-Dave interview dropping tonight on the Keep It Cultivating podcast channel at 9 o'clock p.m. That's right. We ain't doing the Marks Park hour tonight. We ain't doing 11. We doing it at 9 p.m. tonight. You know what I'm saying? Second segment of the Marks Park. The second segment of the D-Dave interview on the Keep It Cultivating podcast will be dropping tonight, 9 p.m. I appreciate everybody that's been tuning in. We pretty much are about to reach that 5K goal that I set for us. Because I set a goal that we was supposed to, you know what I mean, try to get at least 5K views within a week of dropping that first episode. And I was a little bit nervous about it because that was our first episode. It's a brand new podcast on a brand new channel. You know what I mean? So I was a little bit worried, but you guys always come through for your boy, and I appreciate y'all. And yeah, we about to make that 5K. So I told them, as soon as we make that 5K, I'm dropping that next segment. You know what I mean? So that we can continue keeping it cultivating on this momentum that we have. So y'all been great. They've been really engaging with the interview. And I appreciate it. So I just wanted to say thanks for that. Continue liking and sharing, because we got a whole lot of content coming. I got a whole lot of dope interviews, a whole lot of dope people that's going to be coming through this platform here. So just stay tuned and look for it. And of course, keep it cultivating, growing forward. Peace.